Hey, it's Drew Cope. Wanted to do something a little outside of what I've normally done, which is, really just some small things from performances and just hyping up my music. But I wanted to do something a little bit different where I could offer a little bit of help for you guys for songwriting. Songwriting is something I've done for a very long time, ever since I've been 16, so 11 years. And I'd say I'm getting close to something where I can say, I'm pretty damn proud of it. I'm already damn proud of it. Just like time and effort, and I'm sure a lot of you feel that way too, where it's you put a crap ton of effort into what you do, and you love the process, but maybe you release your stuff like I have, and nobody doesn't gain traction or anything like that. So I'm with you there. But regardless, the process is where I feel like a lot of that enjoyment comes from, and you got to honor that. And that's a lot of what the songwriting tips are going to be related around, is just that process, because honoring your process and the way you do things is the number one thing that you can do to kind of keep that momentum going. Because there's tips and tricks and cheats everywhere that people are telling you, like, do this, do that, and some resonate, some don't. You should definitely look at those videos and that content, or that advice from people, and take it with as a data point and try it. Because I found that starting from very different places, whether it's turning a guitar into piano with easy keys, or starting with the hip hop drum beat and it turns into metal somehow, because I read a lot of metal, can be really useful. Just starting from different places that feel right, and not really treating it like, okay, I'm writing a song today and it's going to be a hit, but just, honoring what you're feeling that day, like making it about an emotion, making about a piece of content that you're going to release, and kind of even looking at it like a business and having some directive there. But ultimately having some, motive behind it that's not just, I'm going to try and make the biggest hit ever. So you can either look at it like a business and you're trying to make something based around content, which I've learned recently, which I'm going to try, or just doing it naturally, where it's just like, hey, I'm going to wake up, I hear something in my head, record it on your phone, and then start turning it into something. And you can even use some AI tools where you have something simple like a melody that you hum into your voice memo app and throw it into even like easy keys, or there's lots of other tools that can translate that into something that's musical. Like Easy Drummer 2 can give you a drum beat based on a melody that you give it, and it'll extract the rhythm and give you something to work with. So using tools like that is really useful, especially if you're not somebody who is, playing all the instruments and you need a drummer, or you need a drum machine or some program to help you with that. Like me, like I can kind of play drums, but mostly I just have an understanding of them and use that to my advantage with Easy Drummer. So that can be really useful. Is just, honoring who you are and what you're feeling in that moment, and using some unique tools or unique approaches to get you there if you're feeling creative. Otherwise, just starting anywhere at all. And a huge thing that I've run into in trying to make something like this is talking about the idea of writer's block. Writer's block is interesting because, in my opinion, it doesn't. If you think about it in the right way, it doesn't really exist. It's more of this, kind of tying to what I talked about earlier, is this expectation piece, where mostly, if you have this expectation that you're going to try and make it a big hit, you're going to try and make the song that everyone finally resonates with, you get stuck in the loop of, okay, it's not good enough, I don't like it, this has to be better. And then you're always thinking of ways to make it better that you might not have the experience or just the headspace to do so. So if you treat the approach of songwriting as just, I'm going to write something and I don't care if it's crap or not, like just letting it flow, and then getting something in anything. And a huge thing I've learned from Devin Townsend, who was in Strapping Young Lad when he was younger and now does his own solo stuff, is following something through to the end, where you just make everything that you can until you're just like, yeah, this, I like it or I don't like it completely once you've finished it, but not judging it in the process, and just being like, okay, that works. I'm going to go with it. Maybe it doesn't work 100%, but you just still go with it until the flow of ideas has written you an entire song and a skeleton that you have to look at and listen to, and then judge it from there. Once you have the entire 3-4 minutes of it, whether it's drums and bass and guitars or whatever makes it feel like it's a full song and a full idea, then from there you can judge it and decide to move on or to keep working on it. That's really helped me where I've written songs. Like I wrote a song recently for my girlfriend, and it's just piano and vocals, and I was like, I don't know if I really like it. And getting a second opinion showed me that, you know, people loved it, like other than my girlfriend and, you know, their friends and family. So, you know, they'll give you an opinion that maybe isn't, um, you know, it might be veiled behind like they want to show you appreciation and give you that confidence. But ultimately, um, you know, just honoring that and just even just taking something that you don't think is the best and just releasing it, and people might think otherwise, and then you have something too. Then something is out there in the wild for people to listen to and maybe give you some feedback, and you can listen to them to be like, okay, cool, I like that approach that they're thinking of, like maybe starting somewhere else or maybe mixing it a little bit differently, using, you know, your connections to help you with either, you know, the songwriting or the mixing process of it. That can really help too. So just following something through to the end and just not getting in your own way of expectation, and showing it to people, releasing it. It doesn't really matter. Like we all start from somewhere. And nowadays people have thousands of pieces of content, hundreds of songs released, and sure they might not all be hits, but they have something to for people to grab onto. And ultimately people really want to care, like I do, from personal experience. You know, I'm still nobody in like the Spotify world or just with, you know, having a following or anything like that. But I really appreciate when somebody just releases something and it may not be the best, but I just resonate with that, seeing that they're trying something new. They're putting themselves out there and just giving it their all. Um, and that authenticity will get you a lot further than having like a full blown production that sounds amazing and, um, you know, being, you know, like having a, you know, a music video you put a crap ton of money into. Like, you know, you don't really need that. Like I don't really expect that from, you know, bands that I fall in love with. And like I find a lot of inspiration in that because they try something unique and then they're pushing the boundaries, and it gives me inspiration for something I could try. Like a huge a huge inspiration for me is the band Jack the Joker. They do a lot of avant-garde stuff where it's really interesting, and sure they might not be pop hits or anything like that, but I take a lot of that as inspiration to be like, hey, that's an amazing, like, you know, idea of transitioning from this like heavy, you know, genty kind of sound into something that's like really soft with congos and piano and guitar, acoustic guitar, and just pushing those boundaries. And it's really inspiring to see people just go for that. And of course, I love just like the simpler stuff too now. Like I've been listening to some Miley Cyrus and Adele just because like the the value they bring in their voice, and sure they have a lot of ghostwriters, but those people are freaking talented. Like they make the top charts for a reason, and there's something we can learn from all of that. Even if you're not making a pop hit, like taking the formula and just ingraining that through, like I'm gonna try this, starting from something unique and then using that as like bowling lanes to kind of get you into a place where it's you have a full song, a full 3 to 4 minutes or however long your song will become. So there's a lot of tips you can learn from things that are outside of your wheelhouse or outside of your things you normally listen to or even you're trying to make. Um, so that can be very useful. But another thing too is along the lines of just, you know, releasing things and just putting yourself out there. Like being persistent is huge. Like I'm trying to work on consistency and starting something like this where I just talk and, you know, just offer some of my, you know, experience to, you know, all of y'all, the world, whatever, and trying to just offer more than just being a guy in front of a camera singing, because, you know, people don't really care about that kind of thing, and hopefully people will at least pull something from this and care a little bit more. You know, ultimately uh, my goal with this is not to be like, okay, now I have a bunch of followers because people care, and you know, I'm just here just to show up because I work with plenty of people who are, you know, younger, older, who are just trying to find their way with just enjoying the process and making music, and trying to, you know, help them by learning from them what they're doing and their goals, and then adapting it or just internalizing it in my own way and offering my own experience and my own knowledge on just what I've done to endlessly enjoy what I do with writing music. Because if you enjoy what you do, and you do it in a very authentic way, I think that's going to resonate a lot more with people than trying to be that perfect all-star with what you're doing. Because it's all subjective in the end. Like, you know, there's no perfect song. And I've even named songs like that where I'm like, the perfect riff. And, you know, nobody cares. And it's like, because it's a subjective thing. I think it's the perfect riff or whatever. And if I love that, that's more important than anything. And people will resonate with that. We're like, yeah, I felt that. Like, I've written what I thought was the perfect riff. And I dig that you're, you know, putting things out there where you're like, this is my opinion on what I think would be really, really cool. So being authentic and just kind of not having that expectation, trying to, recognizing that there might be expectation, and just, just letting it go into the point where it's just like, yeah, I might want to write the best song ever, but I got to start somewhere. I just got to keep, just got to keep writing and enjoying what you do, because that will get you further. That'll get you out of burnout. If you're just authentic, like, you're yourself every single day, and, you don't burn out from that, because that's what keeps you going, is just knowing, like, I can be myself around my friends. I can be myself around my family. And that's where personally I feel a lot of energy in conversation, is just being like, yeah, I resonate with this person because we're similar. And then we just go off on a topic. And then if you're that way with your music, that way with your content, then I think a lot more people will kind of connect with you like your friends do. And, I think that could really help. I'm just, I'm testing it out for myself right here. So if you guys like this kind of thing, awesome, comment, stuff like that, and share it. But ultimately, I'm just here to just talk, and, just show you how maybe you can internalize what I've said today to just have more fun with what you're doing and just staying authentic, because I think that's number one. And we'll find out. You just got to try it. You just got to go for it. So hopefully this was helpful. I'm going to be doing more of these, so I'll catch you guys in the next one. So see ya.